you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha Bean, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Welcome back to another episode of Creator to Creators After Hours. I'm your host, Meosha Bean. Take a breath with me. Because the news cycle right now, it feels intentional. It feels loud. It feels layered. The Epstein files are back in the headlines. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has been questioned in a closed-door deposition as part of the House Oversight Committee's broader investigation into the Epstein case. A photo from inside that deposition leaked online, briefly pausing the hearing. At the same time, escalating military tensions with Iran are dominating foreign policy coverage, and people are asking, is this timing random? Is it structural, or is it something else? This is part 2. According to verified reporting, Hillary Clinton gave testimony to Congress as part of the ongoing Epstein-related investigation. She has stated she does not recall meeting Jeffrey Epstein and has denied any involvement in his crimes. Neither Hillary nor Bill Clinton have been charged with wrongdoing in connection to Epstein.
And your husband flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times, correct?
He made several trips with different legs on the trip, as I recall.
But he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times? Mm-hmm. Were you aware that Secret Service was dropped on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
Where they were not on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
So your understanding is that Secret Service was on all of the flights that President Clinton was on?
That is my understanding.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Well, there's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Okay. Yeah, counsel, because actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself denied he was.
These are FBI notes from an interview with a victim, and I can get you the victim number and the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302 interview.
If you'd like those, are you going to provide those now?
I don't. That's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a document.
I'm sorry,
I can get
you're making a representation as to the facts.
I didn't enter anything as an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. By your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools, hot tubs, aboard Jeffrey Epstein's private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today and you told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask you again, by the standard you just set, in your own words just now, does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability. But there is no evidence whatsoever of any connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And I think that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed.
Objection is to speculate on something that's not.
Yeah, it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I think
most of the men are like your husband that did anything wrong by were they being surrounded by young women, giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
You know, you are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable.
Okay. Why did you wait 6 months to have this hearing today or have this testimony?
I've answered that. I thought that given the way that other witnesses who were subpoenaed at the same time were being treated, that there was an unfair treatment of both my husband and myself. And I thought that, especially from my perspective, I had very little, if any, information to provide you, and that I could have done it in a sworn statement, and you could have moved on to depose somebody else who might have more information that would be beneficial to your
I have two more
investigation.
questions, then we're going to pass it to Congresswoman Luna. After Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, did it concern you at all that you had taken a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein?
That's an inappropriate assumption. I did not take a substantial amount of money from Jeffrey Epstein. So far as I know, Jeffrey Epstein contributed to the joint committee that was supporting my Senate race.
Which was how much?
I believe I was told $20,000.
You don't consider $20,000 substantial?
I do not consider it relevant to me because I had no recollection that I ever knew that he gave any money to the joint committee.
So you didn't talk to your donors that gave $20,000 to your campaign?
My understanding of the rules back then is that there was no coordination between the committee and the campaign. So, no, I have no recollection.
But that doesn't mean you
that.
can't speak to your donors. That doesn't prohibit, the law does not prohibit you speaking to donors.
But I didn't know he was a donor. As far as I knew, he was not a donor until I learned this in preparation for the testimony.
Did it concern you at all that Ghislaine Maxwell was heavily involved with people you knew and were close to?
I knew people that I knew her. Yes, that's true.
During her closed-door deposition, a photograph taken inside the hearing room leaked onto social media. That leak temporarily halted proceedings, and immediately the internet did what it does. Screenshots spread, commentary exploded, speculation multiplied, and the words Epstein files were trending again. People don't just want facts, they want reassurance that power doesn't protect itself. That's the emotional layer beneath all of this. Now let's zoom out. At the same time these depositions are happening, tensions between the United States and Iran are escalating. When foreign conflict dominates headlines, domestic investigations often get less oxygen. That doesn't automatically mean distraction, it may mean gravity. War coverage pulls focus because it impacts global markets, military families, energy prices, and international stability. Newsrooms prioritize urgency. Algorithms prioritize engagement. Outrage spreads faster than context. So when the Epstein files trend and foreign policy headlines surge in the same week, it can feel coordinated, when it may simply be the collision of two major stories inside a nonstop media machine. That machine runs on attention, not secrecy, attention. Some believe this isn't coincidence. They believe when elites are questioned, when powerful names resurface, when global conflict escalates, it's part of a larger pattern. The phrase New World Order has been used historically by presidents in reference to global restructuring after the Cold War. But over time, that phrase evolved in public consciousness. For some, it now symbolizes centralized global control, elite coordination, and long-term strategic agendas. I'm not stating that as fact. I'm stating that as a belief held by many people. And when trust erodes, speculation fills the vacuum. When people see war and scandal trending together, they don't always see coincidence. They see orchestration. And whether or not that's accurate, the feeling itself is real.
I think, my mother had an expression, out of everything terrible, something good will come if you look hard enough for it. I think this presents us with some significant opportunities to make some real changes. We are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway, I'm going to hush up, Mary, fire away.
Former President Bill Clinton also addressed questions surrounding his deposition related to the Epstein investigation. He made several remarks in response to the committee's inquiries. Take a listen.
Mr. President, before we left off, I asked you to characterize your relationship with Mr. Epstein, I asked you if you considered him to be a friend. You said you did not. Is that right?
I said we were friendly and we had a cordial relations, but I didn't know him well enough because we had almost no contact beyond what I described.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
Yep,
Mr. President, do you recognize this
I
letter?
do.
And for the record, does this appear to be your handwriting and signature?
It is.
And why did you write this letter?
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Miss Maxwell have
I
asked you?
don't know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now, there's a word that our committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't.
No, errors.
Errors. What
Were
did
you
I mean?
refer-
Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving young
Absolutely
girls.
not. I knew nothing about that.
Did you ever see the birthday book compiled together?
I don't think so.
And you mentioned previously you were friendly with Mr. Epstein. Did you typically send birthday wishes to individuals that you didn't consider to be friends, though?
No, I send out literally hundreds and hundreds of birthday letters every year to people that have been my friends. But if somebody's doing a special, I've sent birthday letters of congratulations to people I've met 2 or 3 times for their 70th birthday, their 80th birthday, their 50th wedding anniversary. I do it. And I just told you, I thought Epstein was interesting and curious. So I wrote a letter that I thought reflected that.
Can you elaborate on what made him interesting and curious?
No more than I've already said.
Mr. President, do you recognize yourself in this photo?
I do.
And it appears that the man on the right of the photo is Jeffrey Epstein, is that correct?
I think so.
Have you seen this photograph before today?
Only in this picture.
And for the record, what is happening in this photo?
He's smiling at me, looks like he's talking to me.
This is one of the friendly interactions that you were describing earlier?
Yes.
And can you describe the circumstances surrounding this photo?
Are you asking him if he recalls this?
I do not. I have no idea.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
Not that I recall.
Did Mr. Epstein ever discuss sexual acts of any kind with you?
No.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Did you ever have sexual contact with any young woman or girl introduced to you by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Mr. President, with the benefit of hindsight, were there things you witnessed that could have suggested that Epstein was trafficking and sexually abusing young women and girls?
I do not believe so.
The role of independent voices. Podcasting changed media. Joe Rogan has openly discussed Epstein on his platform over the years, questioning intelligence connections and elite networks. Candace Owens has also used her platform to discuss transparency, institutional corruption, and power protection. These conversations don't disappear because mainstream networks move on. Independent platforms amplify what audiences still want answers about, but amplification has weight. It can uncover, it can question, and sometimes it can escalate speculation faster than verification, and that balance matters.
That seemed outrageous before a gigantic ring was exposed where there really was a sex trafficker who was compromising people and really was doing it at the behest of at least an intelligence agency, whether it's ours or the Israelis or whoever it is.
Or the Russians.
A lot of people want to say it's the Russians. Well, is there any validity to the Russian
I have
thing?
no idea. The reason I said the Russians is because I was on Drudge, and the headline was Epstein was Russian operative. So it was presented on Drudge. Don't take my word for it.
Right.
As there's the receipts. This is why I'm saying there's Mossad connections with him, obviously, especially with Ghislaine. CIA is a no-brainer because why didn't they bag this guy for years?
Right.
I talked to Kurt Metzger about this, and broadly speaking, and he makes the point like these are all interconnected. This idea that we're going to separate out like the CIA from MI6 is they're buddies with each other, and then frankly that's in many cases a good thing. You want to be working with other countries if you have international trafficking or terrorism or crimes, but I don't know. I can't even finish the sentence.
Stacey Plaskett, she was cooperating with Epstein, going back and forth during Trump's administration. So if people wind up going to trial over this and people wind up getting indicted over this, that could get more interesting because then you remove it from Minnesota and then it becomes this federal court thing. And so then it becomes mainstream public news if they do this correctly. But if there is something there.
But the thing is, you have to worry about if the judge is going to be complicit and if the prosecutor is going to be complicit, and the media is also. You got to kind of fly that arrow through three hoops to hit that bullseye.
You got to go through the bushes and you got a small hole to shoot through. Yeah.
And then to try to make it and then it'd be very easy for Newsom to be like, I'm so glad this got exposed.
Right.
I promise you, as president, this won't happen in America. And if you want to talk corruption, look at Trump and all his sweetheart deals, blah, 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 blah. Hillary's already throwing him under the bus about Epstein. They don't have shame. Did you not see that? Saying? Hillary's like, Trump's in the files thousands of times. Like, let's have this conversation. She started already.
Right. What does that mean, though, when you're in the file thousands of times? Because he is the guy that was in contact with the FBI about Epstein. He did contact the FBI after Epstein was arrested and thanked them for arresting him and getting him because that guy was a real problem.
Right. But
he did kick him out of Mar-a-Lago in 2005.
But she's being factual but not truthful. So it is factual that his name is in the files thousands of times. And then you leave it for the person listening to make that conclusion.
Right, that's all you have to say.
That's all you have to say.
We were talking to Donnell Rawlings yesterday. He's in the files.
Okay.
Because Epstein went to visit his show, went to watch his show at Improv in West Palm Beach.
Peter Thiel, his emails went up there, and it ain't good for J.D. Vance. I'll tell you that right away. I think this is plausibly the biggest scandal to come out of I guess I should say, the most consequential thing to come out of these emails that I can see right now. There's millions to go through. So we'll have more and we'll be reporting on more. But J.D. Vance, he was they had him there, right? Like he's going to be running in 2028. He's not been leaning super into the Zionist stuff. He seems to be abstaining, has been quiet during the whole Epstein thing. It definitely didn't seem like he agreed with it. But everyone knows that Peter Thiel effectively funded J.D. Vance's career. He probably had something to do with J.D. Vance getting the deal with Netflix. And Peter Thiel, who was mentioned early on as being someone who was friends with Epstein, went on to Rogan at the end of last year and sort of intimated that he really didn't know Epstein that well, but spoke to him mainly just about math because he knew about taxes and how to avoid them. Take a listen.
How was he described to you?
He was described as one of the smartest tax people in the world.
Interesting.
And I probably was my moral weakness that I
Well, how
without
could
paying
you have known
taxes.
back then? He had never been arrested.
No, this was 2014. It was post arrest.
Oh, so his arrest was the first arrest, right?
Yeah,
Which was like 2000.
07, 08.
Okay. And so,
but you assume he didn't go to jail for that long.
Right.
It was probably not as serious as alleged. There was certainly the illusion that there were all these other people that I trusted. Reed, who introduced us, was, he started LinkedIn. He was, maybe too focused on business networking, but I thought he always had good judgment in people.
When the went down and Epstein gets arrested for the second time, were you like, oh, well, there you go?
I've thought about it. I thought a lot about it as a result. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And thought about it, he did, because he was emailing Jeffrey Epstein a lot, meeting up with him a lot. Definitely sounds like they were very close, inviting him to the island. Basically, this guy's going to be here from Europe. Also, you should come this weekend. They were together all throughout New York, constantly messaging each other. It is not a good look. There is no question these two were friends. And I do not accept that the person who's effectively spying on all of us, he's got to deal with the military through Palantir. And now we're supposed to believe that he just like, I couldn't look in any further. I had no context to figure out what Epstein was accused of. And I decided to still be friends with him, despite all the allegations, despite him admitting to what he did, right? He caught a plea deal. We're supposed to believe Peter Thiel, with all of his resources, just went, trust me, bro. I'm not buying it. And this is now a major problem for J.D. Vance. It is.
A major development in the Epstein probe unfolded during the 5-hour deposition of former Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner. The hearing gained national attention after a hot mic exchange surfaced online, adding fuel to an already tense proceeding. During the testimony, Wexner denied wrongdoing, pushed back on allegations, and made references to prominent public figures, triggering strong reactions from lawmakers. Here's a breakdown of that moment and why it's drawing so much attention. Let's listen.
It was just regularly done. Answer not the question. 5 words, okay?
Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
Nope.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or or I know you. It was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Deep into the deposition, Wexner was point-blank asked, did you personally have a sexual relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? He paused, made a face, zoom into his reaction, and said no.
Did you personally have a sexual relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Les Wexner even went on to speak about big billionaire tech founders, including Jeff Bezos, who was referred as the Amazon guy, Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
He would talk about the founders of Google, that they were friends and he'd visit them. He would talk about, you got to come out to San Francisco. You should meet the Amazon guy. Bezos. And I said, no, I'm not too busy and I'm interested and I don't do what he does. And I said, but he's really a smart guy. You should meet him. I said, if I'm ever in San Francisco, I'll look him up. I'm too busy.
Zuckerberg.
Mr. Wexner, do you recall who Maria Farmer is?
I know her name from the press.
Did you ever meet Maria Farmer?
Never.
Is it your testimony today that you do not know whether Maria Farmer's ever stayed on your property?
That would be correct.
Do you have any reason to not believe Maria Farmer's account of being abused by Jeffrey Epstein on your property?
Objection. On his property.
Les Wexner is the retired billionaire founder of L Brands, parent of Victoria's Secret, worth over $9 billion. He met Epstein in the 1980s, granting him power of attorney in 1991 and transferring $1 billion in assets, including properties and yachts. As the Epstein saga unfolds, Wexner's testimony leaves more questions than answers.
Is this distraction? Here's the deeper question I want you to sit with. If powerful people are questioned publicly but nothing legally changes, does the public eventually disengage? When hearings happen quietly behind closed doors? When photos leak but conclusions don't? When global conflict dominates front pages? Does accountability get buried? Or does it simply move slower than outrage wants it to? It's easy to say this is distraction. It's harder to analyze systems. Media fragmentation means no one controls the whole narrative anymore, but power still shapes which stories get sustained attention. And that's not conspiracy. There is so much information being thrown at us. War updates, leaked images, congressional hearings, economic shifts, viral commentary clips. Overload creates fatigue. Fatigue creates disengagement. Disengagement benefits anyone who prefers the public tired. If there's anything to stay aware of, it's not hidden symbols. It's your attention span. Don't get scared. Stay awake, but grounded. And here's the question I want you to sit with tonight. If the full truth about everything were released tomorrow, would we even recognize it through the noise? I'm Meosha Bean. Stay aware, stay thoughtful, stay grounded, and I'll see you in part 3.